Hi, brother teacher here. I'm back. I'm back with the 5 things or a continuation of the 5 things that can make your life much better. In the last video, which was the first video, I started out with letting material things and other people define you. Stop doing it. Just coming into this video, we're going to start with number 2. Number 2 is find your purpose in life. Have you decided what you want? Have you decided or discovered even why you're even here on Earth, planet Earth? I don't want this to sound mystical or anything like that, but it's a simple question. What's your purpose? I've asked that question probably hundreds of times to people, and what is really alarming to me is the fact that a lot of people don't have a purpose. Some people don't know what their purpose is. You just ought to find out what your purpose actually is and stop making excuses. You should. If you don't have a purpose, ladies and gentlemen, you don't have a meaning for moving forward. You don't have a purpose in moving forward. How do you go forward if you have nothing to aim at? How do you decide that you're going to do anything that's going to better your station in life if you don't know where indeed you're going? You must make a decision. This is my purpose in life. And if you're really not sure, you're really not certain, you need to take some time to yourself, perhaps, and give it a lot of thought. I think it's really bizarre. I want to say insane, even on some level, to just simply exist on planet Earth as a human being, the most intelligent creature on this planet, and you don't know why you're here and where you're going to go while you're here. So that's number 2. If you want your life to be more meaningful, if you want your life to get better, you need to really find out what your purpose is. And once you find out what your purpose is, then you have some meaning in your life and you can move forward. Number 3, stop being a continuous procrastinator. We know what procrastination is. That means you can't make up your mind. That's akin to the one that I just gave you about purpose, procrastination. Once you decide what your purpose is, you really need to move on it. Stop putting it off until tomorrow. And it does not necessarily have to be your life purpose that you're putting off. I know people who put off all of the time. They're procrastinating all of the time, and then they miss a lot of opportunities in life. Job opportunities, family time. They miss out on spending time with their children because they're procrastinating. How many times have you seen a father promise his children that he was going to do something for them, and he's not living with the mom? I'll be there to pick you up Saturday, take you to the movies, take you to the ball game, take you to the arcade or somewhere, and he doesn't do it. But he so conveniently has an excuse why he did not do it. And I'm not just pointing fingers at the father. The moms do this as well. There are mothers that do this as well, who don't have, how should I say, custody of their own children. I personally know women who have had their children even taken away, and they have limited visitation with their children. And because I imagine from my experience with them is that they feel so bad, they feel so embarrassed, and they have so much guilt that they are ashamed to face their children. So oftentimes it's easier to them to just not show up at all, So procrastination, it's a killer. It really is. Because sometimes you can procrastinate concerning some things that are life issues that can ultimately end up harming you or someone else. Can you imagine, for example, let's say you keep having chest pains and you need to go to the doctor. But it goes away. Or I have a chest pain. It could be any malady, but let's just use chest pain as an example. We know that's usually associated with something heart related, right? Oh, I have this pulling in my chest. Oh, a little numbness on my arm. I'll just ignore it. It went away. 3, 4 days, a week or two, comes back again. A little bit more intense than the first time. You're procrastinating. You have the ability to go to the doctor or emergency room, but you just simply won't. Why? You might be afraid of doctors. You just don't like the environment or what have you. You may not have the money to pay for the doctor's bill or the hospital fee, but you keep procrastinating. Don't forget you only have one life, right? Next thing you know, you have a major heart attack because you kept putting it off and putting it off. And so they have to undergo some extensive surgery on your heart. You may end up with a pacemaker and some medication. It could be a bypass, triple bypass, who knows? But had you gone earlier when you first knew that you had an issue, you probably would have never had to have surgery. It could have just simply been a matter of some drugs, pharmaceuticals, if you will. Stop procrastinating. If there's something that you want to do in your life, once you find your purpose, make a decision, be definitive, and say, I'm going to do it. I'm going to set a date, and you should. Get a calendar, get a notebook, get a journal, something, pen and paper, and write it down. Set realistic goals for yourself. They don't have to be long-term goals. They can be short-term goals, but set goals. Stop procrastinating and make sure that you are determined to meet that particular date and or goal. And even if you don't make it quite to that particular goal, it was just a stepping stone. Start all over again. But don't procrastinate. The next time your child asks you for something that's within your means and or your ability to do, don't give them false promises. Daddy's going to do this on such and such a day. Oh, I'll be there. His graduation, her recital, whatever. If it comes out of here, it should come out of here. You need to mean it, because you are making a lasting impression on your child. That's just another example of someone who could potentially procrastinate. Another example. So procrastination is not good at all. Never has been. Okay. That was number 3. Number 4 is learn to accept that failure is part of your development as a man or woman. How many people have failed at something in their lives? Anything that you have ever set your hand to do, have you ever failed? Have you ever made a mistake? Have you ever been in a position or situation where you did not accomplish something that you set out to do and you gave it 100% sometimes? Maybe sometimes you only gave it 60%. So what happens when we fail? We should learn a lesson. I have failed many times over, and it's not a bad thing. Let me tell you the worst failure that you can have. The worst failure is not when you have attempted to do something, once you've set your mind to do something, let's say positive, I hope it's positive, and it just didn't pan out. Let's say you didn't get that job that you applied for. You've been thinking about it for a long time. You really wanted that position, or even that promotion on a job that you're already at. And it was in your heart, you said, I got to have that, I would like to be there. And you've done all of the right things, and you failed. Is it really failure? It should be something to help you build your character. That's what failure does. It's only one particular thing that can help build your character. Failure, that is. There's many things, but we're talking about failure. So failure is not the end all be all. It doesn't mean that that's the end of your life, the end of your world. You should learn from it. I remember so many times in karate tournaments, I would be a referee, a judge, or even the host of my own events. And there would be children, sometimes even adults, that would lose a match. They would lose a forms competition. And they drop their head and they walk away in disgust. And I walk over to them and I said, there's another day coming. You're supposed to learn from this particular experience. Everyone can't win all of the time. I've been on the other end of that as well. I've lost in competition. When I thought I should be first place in some events, I was second place or third place, and I have even been in a position where I did not place at all. Most of the time, and I do mean the majority of the time, I was good. But there was once or twice in my career where I really thought that I was cheated. I really was. And it hurt me. And I had to come to myself. And I had to come to the realization that sometimes things don't always go the way that you intend for them to go, even though you know you have given it all that you had, and maybe there was some bias on the other side because the guy or the competitor was a member of the hosting team. And those things do happen in life. It's politics, we call it. So did I really fail? As long as I was willing to embrace the loss, I didn't fail because I knew what I had put in terms of time and effort, blood, sweat, and tears. Okay, let's move on here. Failure is not your enemy. Failure can be your friend. And as I set out to say a moment ago, the worst failure is not when you've given it everything that you have and did not end up with the results that you desired or thought that you were going to end up with. Failure, true failure, is when you do nothing at all because there's no lesson to learn. That's what true failure is. Now, we're going to wrap it up with number 5. Number 5 is this. Stop being in the middle on life issues. Make a commitment and take a side. This is one of the worst things that you can ever do in life. Ladies and gentlemen, before I close, one of the worst things that you can do in life is to straddle the fence. You've got a choice on the right and you have a choice on the left, but you take neither side. You are neutral and in the middle. Why? Fear? Fear of what? Fear of reprisal from someone, some entity, some person, some group. You just ought to grow up. Take a side. Let's use this as an example. Let's say the subject or topic of abortion. Do you believe in abortion? There are some people who will comfortably sit in the middle of that fence and say to each his own. But they do have an opinion. They actually do. But they are afraid of maybe possible backlash. What if I offend someone who I know and they attack me verbally? What if I offend someone that I don't know who is a pro-abortion individual? If I let them know that I don't agree with abortions. So I just get in this comfort zone in this middle right here where, well, I really won't take this side, pro-abortion, and I won't take the other side. I'll just rest in the middle. That's not good. You know what the Bible says about that? It says that a double-minded man is unstable in all his ways. Double-minded means you lean this way and you lean that way. You haven't made up your mind firmly to take one particular side. It's like God and the devil. Either you are for God or you're for the devil. You can't straddle the fence. You can't say, I love God and I want to follow God, but. And you can't be so entrenched in the devil and his ways and his antics, and you kind of lean towards God when things are going bad on the other side. Make up your mind. That's it. These are 5 things that I thought I would share with you. Even though I didn't speak too much in depth on a couple, the video is just to get you to think. 5 things that should help better your life. They're basic things. They're commonsensical things. Don't forget that common sense is not necessarily common. So where are you on these 5 points? Are you a procrastinator? You need to stop. Have you decided what your purpose is in life? I hope so. Are you the type of person that straddles the fence and you haven't decided which side you're on, the left or the right? And you only take position as it benefits you at the moment, but you don't have a firm position on either side. You need to take a position and stay there, no matter what the repercussions might be, no matter what possible backlashes might be waged against you. At the end of the day, it's going to determine whether or not you are a strong man or woman. Learn to stand firmly on both your feet, ladies and gentlemen, and be the person that you were intended to be. But first, you have to find that purpose. In order to be that person, you have to find that purpose. The purpose that you must have in your own life. I know my purpose, and my purpose may not be yours, because I'm an individual, and so are you. I hope that this video was beneficial to you. Not a whole lot of bells and whistles and hoopla, just something to get you to think. Let me know what your answer is on these 5 points. This is Brother Teacher. So long.